So, very warm welcome everyone. This side Kashish from Bore Infinity, and we are back with another amazing session for you all. So, today's our topic is why should one become a data scientist? Why should you become a data scientist? And today we have Ms. Shreshtha with us, who's working as a data scientist at March McLennan, and she has this super curiosity, and it has led to her career in data science. So, without wasting much of your time, I'll quickly get back to her. Welcome, ma'am. Thank you for connecting with us today.
Hello, Kashish. It's glad to be here.
Okay, ma'am. So over to you now. You can start.
Yeah, so you can ask me the questions, maybe.
Okay, so directly we should jump into the questions.
Uh, yeah,
Okay. So, like my first ever question. Am I audible to you?
yeah, fine, yeah, good.
So my first ever question to you, as we know that you were super curious as a person, and that is the reason behind you becoming a data scientist. So, what made you choose to be a data scientist, and how has your journey been so far?
Yeah, so basically, I personally feel data science is a new jargon term. Okay, so we're already computing a lot of decisions in our head. Like suppose you meet three, four people, you know who is a Punjabi, who you know who is a South Indian, who is an American, who know is an Indian. So automatically, some kind of classification model, which we call in ML terms, is happening in your brain. Now today, what has happened is we can capture a lot of data types, and we can store it somewhere, and we can do mathematical modeling on them, and hence this whole new jargon thing of data science has come into existence. But essentially it's what we have been doing ever since, and now it's just we have the access to the amenities to sort of explore it more, and then get fine tune our results. So I sort of would like to give a brief introduction of how I was introduced into data science. I was doing a computer science graduation at my university, and then there was this one internship that we had, and I applied for it. And it was this all new thing of data science and a lot of data and a lot of Python work, and I gave into it. And I found out there's so many interesting things to work on, and we were directly working with the clients, and it was sort of something that ignited a sort of a spark in me, and I decided, okay, let's go for it. And fortunately enough, I worked with two very early stage startups where I got to work with international and well as national clients very early in my career. Thankful for that. And my second startup was actually a 100 VX funded location kitchen startup, so something you should really check out. And right now, I shifted my career to a more management consulting tech part. So I'm working at Marsh, and I see the whole industry right now is moving, having a great transition into a digital sector where it's a lot of data is being converted into a format that is readable by the computer, and hence the exploration of data mining and analysis, it's probably the chances are going up to infinity. So yeah, there's a huge scope into it.
So you mentioned like working into two early stage startups at the very start of your career. Do you
Yeah.
think is that a thing that aspirants for data science they should is it preferable to work in a startup or in a company?
So
Experience based.
yeah. So basically, I was offered a job at MU Sigma when I was in my freshers, but I decided not to go ahead with it because what happens in a big MNC, things are already in set. People know what they're doing. They have their product vision, and they know they'll give you some tasks which you'll have to probably do this in a similar manner. And especially if you're in a team where there are more than 20 people, that means you're going to do some work which is already very pipeline for you. If that suits you, good enough. But if you're a person who really wants to experiment, get things, do it 5 times 6 times, because every iteration is important, because you never know what is the final one, then startups obviously give you an edge to work a lot on data, which or any kind of coding work, which is very new, and it's not very boring. It's very difficult at times because you'll be frustrated because you're doing the same thing again and again because there is no structure to it, but it helps you to learn a lot of things. So even right now I'm working at an MNC, but my team says it's like very small. It's like 5 member team. So that's always there.
Okay, so the conclusion is that small teams and
Yeah.
startups kind of thing they give you a good experience, good head
Yeah.
start.
So they will not pay you a lot, so you will not get fixed CTC with tax benefits, but it helps you to learn a lot.
Nice answer. So my next question too is like for the learners who are planning to be a data science professional, what do you think is the main advantage of taking this field?
Yeah, so rightly mentioned, a lot of data is being captured today. 10 years ago, we did not have huge database systems or, ability to capture data. Right now, very instance, every moment of your life, you can capture data, right? And you can store it. Like right now, we're having a conversation, you can store this data in YouTube, you can download it, you can have a facial recognition of my expression, your expressions, my word contents. Everything is possible today. Today, because of cloud computing, a lot of data which people never thought could be stored is now been able to store it, and you can process it because there is a high competition CPUs available at a very cheap price compared to what we were had 5-6 years back. So right now the industry is just gonna boom and grow because a lot of companies, the old ones, especially the ones established in 1800s or 1700s, we have few companies like that. They have massive silos of data, and those are not in in a format which can be used. So that digitization is taking place. India is doing a great thing when it comes to digitization of data, and as when it grows, it's becoming knowing data or understanding, it's becoming a daily skill. It's like using computer nowadays. So I think it's only going to grow, and there's a huge advantage because there's a huge demand to it and the supply is comparatively low. So yeah, it's a great career to choose ahead, but of course you must have an interest toward data. If you do not have an interest, then there's no point.
So basically, whoever is interested, like even a slight bit of interest can give you a huge career scope.
Right. In fact, you will be requiring data in every field, whether you're becoming a marketing professional or a salesperson. Slowly, systems are being integrated in a way so that you understand dashboards, you understand what is right, what is wrong, and what is the data telling you. So you might be meeting with the client every day, every time, and you're saying hello first. And maybe those clients are not really turning out for your next meeting. But if you say an hi, maybe it'll turn out. That's a very basic example, but this is how you can measure quantitatively whatever actions you take. And that's why for every profession, data is becoming an essential key driver of how businesses work.
So the next question is quite related to this one. Like so many people are now going into this field. DS is one of the hot topics right now.
Yeah.
So will there be too many people working on it?
So the same question happened a long time back when computers came in. Computers would take away all the jobs. But if you see history, computers have created more jobs now. So similarly, there's never too much of a thing in when it comes to tech and the way it's growing right now. There is a really lack of talent. People do courses but they don't really understand data, so hiring is a real challenge for anybody. And the second point is, in every field data would be required in some way or the other. So becoming data efficient is now a natural skill. It probably should be in fact, there's a new news coming out that says, from school level will be taught data science and ML, the basic stuff to it, because that's because how the world is changing. Data tells you a lot of stories and they want you to integrate that and implement it and get better results out of it. So there's never going to be too much of a thing over here. Like, so as long as you're good, you're gonna get a good salary. If you're not that great, then you will get a job, maybe less salary, right? So jobs going to be there. It's just your interest, your capabilities, which is going to measure out what you actually go through, right? Because you have engineers, you have all kinds of engineers, right? So it's like that. So it's never too much. So something everybody can go into. And data science in itself, it's a very broad topic. People just mention it data science and it's like a whole pretty huge umbrella. But there is data processing, there is data cleaning, there is data analysis. There are different roles like data engineers, business analysts, data scientists, ML engineers. So you can fit into any of these roles. It's a very broad term that we use nowadays, very trending, of course. And at the same time, it does open a lot of opportunities. So we don't have to worry about if there's going to be too many people going into it. It's probably a hard shot that you should definitely try out if you're interested in data.
Okay. So like you're working at an MNC right now. So
Yeah.
like next thing that I'm going to ask you, like what are some top companies in this field and what do they mostly look for?
Yeah, so top companies honestly really depends a lot of the times, but I think Fractal, Google, Microsoft is always on the top, right? So yeah, MNCs, they're all right now are shifting to form data teams. So they are forming data analytics teams. A lot of people are like hiring. KPMG right now is hiring a lot. I've seen keep a lot of job requests coming on my LinkedIn post. But so regardless of the company, it's very important that you know what their product is like or what their clientele is like, because a lot of startups are also coming up in this AIML space, which are doing absolutely amazing work. So you choose your domain and see whatever company you're working in, like is it location intelligence or satellite imagery, or it could be anything. A lot of stuffs are coming up, could be fintech. So you just choose your interest and you go over it. So that's the best way to go forward to it. Essentially what any company would look for you is your common sense. That's very sort of missing in most of the candidates, and understanding of basic statistics. Okay, because whenever we're talking about data, we should be clear that we understand mean median mode. If we cannot understand mean median mode, then it's very difficult to go through the process or even to learn more of the data part of it, because basic statistical tendency tell you a lot about the data, which is very important for you to understand. So a bit of common sense, good coding skills always help. So Python is right now the current hot coding language that people prefer. um, and an inherent interest to know things, right? Because suppose you're working on a client project, it's very important that you sort of have a kind of background on what kind of project you're working on. So I, for instance, worked on this one steel project, so I have to understand the working of the steel plants to implement my code or to understand the data. So that kind of interest and curiosity should happen, and then everything sort of flows on its own way. I think I'm not audible. You're not audible. Yeah, you're on mute, I guess.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there was one thing, like many people were eager to join, and I saw those notifications on YouTube. That's why I allowed them to be here.
Great. Hi, everybody.
So, sorry for the disturbance. Now, my next question to you is like, what tools should one be experienced for being in data science?
Yeah, I think there are two parts to this question. One would be your generic tools like Python are is essential. Maybe Tableau for dashboarding. Apart from that, when you go to a company, they might have their own product tool that you might have to learn. So picking up things should be very easy for you to do. So I would suggest give a lot of focus on Python skills and R coding, mostly Python, because that's how most people are working into it. A bit of cloud knowledge is also always good, and a bit of dashboarding is as well. If you're looking for a business analyst role, then it works as well. But it also heavily depends that from company to company. So one company might work on Power BI. So more than the tools, the logic should be very easily mapped in your brain, so that you can pick up any tool whenever you feel like, and that's what is essential and pretty important.
So, ma'am, specifically, if I ask you, like, someone is preparing to be a data scientist, right? So, like you told me about Python. So, are there any more languages and or something that a company specifically looks for apart from Python and having a keen interest into data science?
Yeah,
Something
so
more that they should be
yeah,
prepared for?
ideally they do look for specific skills, like mostly it's Python on, or if it's dashboarding a role, then Tableau Power BI is a must. But at the same time, it really depends on the company, right? If they have a lot of work ready and they're working on R, they will prefer to take on students who are working on R. If they're working on Python, they'll prefer to take candidates who are proficient in Python. Currently the industry scape, people prefer Python at most more of the cases, because a lot of APIs can be sort of fluxed into it, and it can be gelled into it, easily accessible by the cloud as well. So cloud computing and knowing AWS primarily and something like Azure would always help the candidate. But most importantly, what they see is, can you pick it up? Because in any company you might know a lot of Python, suddenly they say a project has come, you have to learn R. in a week's time you should be able to be in a position where you pick that up, and it's easy. Honestly, for learning Python on your own, and if you see you can pick it up, have a confidence that yes, any language comes in, you can pick that up as well, and that's what really matters. Because it's a very constantly evolving space, data science as a whole, because there is ML and then there is deep learning part to it as well. So as in things evolve, you have to also
Ma'am, you got muted.
yeah, there was a host and so yeah. So yeah, as I was mentioning, it's a very evolving space. So knowing things in at everything at once is not possible, but you should have the curiosity and the confidence that yeah, whatever comes in you will pick it up. So that's what is important.
So, like the next thing that I'm going to ask you is quite different. It's something that you told me in the very start that you started off with internships, right?
Yeah.
So, how difficult was it for you to gain experience in this field or to keep improving? Or was it very easy? Like it came
uh,
handy?
Nothing is easy in life. So initially when I started, I was like, okay, I was taken aback. I thought everybody knows so much, I know nothing. And that feeling does come quite a lot when you're starting out. But the important point is, there is you just keep on trying out, because information is available everywhere. Today we live in a world where information is not something that we should worry about, but it's all our interest and applying common sense and the integrity to improve yourself that helps us in the long run. So it has not been very easy when I started in my first month, but yeah, that was the time I pushed myself so much, and today things I could not do a month back, I can do it easily now, right? So that is what a constant, you have to constantly keep on striving. There is no end to learning, as they say, so it's pretty much that. But it's never going to be easy, but the main point is to keep trying, and eventually you'll find.
Yeah, so this was one answer that will specifically help all the people who are starting to step into this career, right?
Yeah.
So next thing that I'm want to ask you is like data science is more. It's in small pieces. It's not just a whole thing. So we have deep learning, we have machine learning, and then we have more things. I don't know much about it. So is it like you need to master all, or you can specifically get into one field?
uh it really depends on a person to person, right? I'd say initially, if you're just starting out your career, try to dabble with all of them just to have a basic idea. And then if you really think, okay, NLP is my go-to thing, okay, computer vision is my go-to thing, I really like it, then you can of course go deep dive into it. For if you ask me personally, I'm more of consultant kind of a person who likes to solve problems no matter what the business problem is. So I would try to see whatever solution is available and try to fit that in. I'm not in a role right now to do research kind of topics. I wouldn't go deep down completely to at a very basic level for all of the problems. But yeah, in near future, if I do get placed somewhere, or if I think of doing researching into one particular domain, I could do it. But I think initially you should try your hand at everything, so that you at least know what you will like and what you will not like. So that is absolutely fine.
So, like we have started to get to the end of the session. So, this question is like, is there any fixed path for getting into data science, or just follow your heart and grab on the opportunities coming your way? Like, what is your best suggestion?
uh, Definitely self learning is the best thing to go for, but of course at times you would need some kind of help or guidance into be in align with your field, right? So of course there are a lot of mentoring platforms coming up nowadays. So Board Infinity is one of them, where they have sort of personal mentors and a lot of questions and different case studies. So definitely you can try out, subscribe and see how things go, what works out for you, and get an exposure of the material. So once you're taught the basics, ABCDs of stuff, then you can try and write a word or a sentence, and that's how it happens. But your basics are sort of important, and then you should definitely look out for it.
So, my personal last question to you is that any advice for all the aspirants out there? Because right now we are in this pandemic also, so things are not going that well as they should be on the offline mode. Any suggestion for them, any advice for them?
Yeah, I think pandemic could be a great opportunity for us to learn a lot of things, whether data science or not. If you're interested in data, then of course data science is one of the things that you can try learning at. And there are, as I mentioned, there are a lot of platforms. Boardnifit is one of them, with a lot of personalized mentoring and guidance. So if you're really looking to master the data field, maybe you can try out and subscribe to the platform and see, get a mentor, work on it, work on the problem statements, get your CV updated and running. And if you're planning to have a career shift into the world of data, then it could be a good start to your career.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. So with this, we have come to the end of the session. If you want to add anything else, my heartily welcome to you. But that's the end from my side.
Yeah, no, thank you, Kashish. We had a lovely talk. I think the only thing I'd like to add is, if you're trying to, excel at the data field, just be curious. Okay, just remain curious, because it's a field that is very interesting, because it is an intersection of both statistics, mathematics, management, and a lot of behavioral sciences. Everything come together, and every aspect of business, whether it is data collection to HR to marketing to sales, everything is sort of being centered around this field right now. So very interesting field to go for. But always remember, no matter how tough things get when you're learning, or doing a project or a client, servicing a client, uh, just be remain curious and keep having faith, and that will that would automatically the answers of data would be fall in love with the data, and the data will talk to you. So yeah.
Yeah, I'll remember the last line: fall in love with the data, and data will remember you.
Yeah.
I hope everyone notes down in their notebook. This is helpful.
Yeah.
So thank you for connecting with us today, ma'am, and thank you for sharing each and everything in such detailed manner. It was lovely connecting with you.
Thank you, likewise. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you everyone for being with us today, and please stay tuned for more such sessions. We'll be back again.